The best team in the NFC comes to Minnesota as the Vikings prepare to stay alive in the playoff race. Let's talk about it.
Skol Vikings, let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name.
The Vikings and the Cowboys really couldn't be much two different teams. The Cowboys, of course, the best line in all football. It's what's been talked about this all year, and this year's been improved. Ezekiel Elliott's been stunning. And on the flip side, the Vikings have replaced linemen every single game this year. Their Hall of Fame running back, Adrian Peterson, is of course hurt at the beginning of the year, but even when he did play, he was pretty bad himself. So just that parallel whatsoever really shows where both these teams are thus far in the season. One's only has one loss. The Vikings start out very strong, 5-0, then fell off to 6-5, and a lot of people will be saying that this game would be down to 500. It would be hard to argue with them. Now, offensively, the Cowboys are so balanced. The drafting of Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott was so clutch for the Cowboys. Now, Dak Prescott, when drafted, was just supposed to be a solid backup for Tony Romo, and eventually maybe his successor. But the expectations weren't that high at all, and Dak just blew him out of the water. I think Dak Prescott's been their MVP over Elliott. Elliott's been a very, very good runner, don't get me wrong, but the O-line helps a ton. The O-line, of course, helps the quarterback as well. But Dak's outperformed Tony Romo, who, despite all the awful playoff losses he's had to come, has been at least borderline a Hall of Fame quarterback his entire career. And Dak Prescott benched him. That says a lot about Dak and how he controls the Cowboys offense. Now, of course, having Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, who will be flirting with about 2,000 yards this year, which is incredible, especially for a rookie, is just a feat on its own. So two studs that are both rookies is so hard to cover. Dez Bryant on Xavier Rhodes, I think it's going to be a really fun matchup this game. Xavier Rhodes seems to dominate these big physical receivers all year long. Some of the faster, speedy ones get around him, some of the shifty, small ones, but big physical ones like Calvin Benjamin got absolutely shut out. He did a pretty good job on Larry Fitzgerald too, and those are both games that we won. So I really like the idea of Xavier Rhodes on Dez Bryant. That should be the matchup of the day, because that's probably the only position where we really match up well against the Vikings offense. The Vikings defense will have its handful all day. Of course, the Cowboys are leading the league in rushing yards, with Ezekiel Elliott leading the way as far as running backs. And he's such a complete back. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He's great in pass protection. So all around, the Cowboys are really, really glad with their selection, and the Vikings look like they aren't too happy with their selection of Treadwell. Still barely seen any playing time, and almost dropping the ball into an interception on Thanksgiving last week. If you want to check out more of the Vikings-Lions Thanksgiving game, that'll be in the description down below. They just got that preview in a separate video. So, other than that, O-line against their D-line, our D-line getting really depleted. They get worn out. It doesn't really show, but Linval Joseph, I don't think is 100% by any means anymore. He's a big man. He's going to get the wear and tear. He's the nose tackle. He's going to get double teamed all the time, or triple teamed at times. All the hits are just going to keep piling up. The big man can't take that all season long, despite him being over 300 pounds, just being a monster. He's still getting into backfield. Some of the last play, he's still not as explosive as he was the first 5 games when our defense was getting compared to the 85 Bears. But it really depends. Our D-line's going to have to win it offensively. It's war in the trenches. Can our stud D-line do well against the best offensive line in football? It's going to be another great battle. If Sharif Boyd could finally get into the game, that would be very nice for the Vikings, but I see no sign of him coming back. I just have no idea what happened to Sharif. It seemed like his injury wasn't that big of a deal at the beginning of the year, but he's yet to see any playing time in the regular season. So it's very, very weird to see what happened to Sharif Floyd. I don't know, Mike Zimmer's been calling him out in press conferences, saying that he only really cares about the players that are playing for his teams, and truthfully, it's not one of them all year long. So there goes that falling first round pick of what your head coach thinks of you. Other receivers, the Cowboys have had emerging ones all year, but our defensive back is very deep and talented. I don't know the status of Terrence Newman, but if he's in, I think we have a solid game to hold the score down at least a little bit. If our D-line still going to be the centerpiece of what's going to hold this team down. I think Mike Zimmer will fool Dak Prescott a few times. I would expect a few interceptions. Maybe get a few sacks if they really trust their line and drop Dak back on the 5 to 7 step drops and let him try to make some plays. That's time when Everson Griffin and company can really get back at the quarterback, and Deion Hunter can add on to a terrific sophomore year. Offensively for the Vikings, again, offensive line. At this point, we don't know what hot dog vendor will be starting each offensive line position. We'll have probably Searles, Boone, Berger might not even be healthy. I don't even know. We have Nick Houston, who's played well last game. And then the whole right side is all a mystery. We don't really know any type of status of those. But I'd imagine TJ Clemmings would still be in there. I don't think his injury was too bad. And Willie Beavers, decent enough. Not a big drop off, especially when you're just talking Fusco. I think Fusco's probably been the biggest disappointment on the offensive line, because Fusco was the right guard in 2012, and Adrian Peterson had his 2,000-yard rushing year. He looked like a fantastic run blocker, but this year he hasn't gotten it done in either front and running or pass blocking. So I'd say Fusco is kind of the Vikings going to do a very short end, but with all the offensive line problems, hey, at least he can stay healthy, so I guess that's a plus for Vikings offensive lineman. But how will we score any points? Well, of course, we're going to be looking for more explosive plays this week. The offensive coordinator doesn't want to lose his job, as he just got it over North Turner. As he resigned, I would imagine there's some type of turmoil to make him really want to make that decision. So I would expect him to design a few shots, but I really didn't mind the 3 to 5 yard checkdowns. You can't do that on 3rd and long all the time, but sometimes it's to gain field position, and if you can trust our defense like you should be able to, getting at 6 yards and 3rd and 10, then punting it away, because Jeff Block's been a fantastic punter all year, and let our defense go to work, get the ball right back, and try again on a 1st and 10. Sometimes that's the best strategy you can do with, because throwing it 15 yards and getting an interception is not good either, or maybe an 8-yard curl that ends the game against the Lions. See for that. If Diggs is healthy, I think we have a solid chance to get a decent offense, because that's the biggest reason our offense was so stagnant against Detroit, is no Stephon Diggs equals no offense for Minnesota. It looks like all year, as Diggs has been, I say, maybe the best as far as being a consistent weapon for the whole NFL all year. He racked up multiple 10 reception games, which is very, very impressive for a receiver. Of course, you could make the argument maybe you just our only weapon on offense, so he's going to spread the ball more. But when you're a team that's struggling and Stephon Diggs still comes through with over 100-yard receivings, he probably dropped, but as of the week before Thursday's game, he was number 3 in almost every receiving category. So that's very, very impressive when you're the Minnesota Vikings receiver. No Adrian Peterson to draw 8 men in the box. It's just you on their best corner, and he's still making plays. So Stephon Diggs deserves all the credit. I think he could still get a good game against Dallas if he was healthy. He was kind of a late scratch last week, so I'd be optimistic for the return of Stephon Diggs. He was questionable going into the game, but scratched fairly early. So it would be a very, very nice addition to the Vikings to give them Stephon Diggs. And, of course, Adrian Peterson has resumed a little bit more running on the sidelines. I think it's optimistic to really think he'll be playing Thursday. But maybe next Sunday, maybe that game you'll see Adrian back in there. If for somehow like they put Adrian on a snap count or something and we give him a few carries throughout this game, I feel like that's very, very risky for a 30-year-old running back to be getting carries when he's not 100%. But if he's out there, he's at least a very good decoy. So again, we'll probably draw 8 men in the box, even on an injured Adrian Peterson is much more of a threat than a full health Jared McKinnon or Matt Asiata. So that will, of course, give Bradford more chances to get these deep balls out and get one-on-one matchups. So Stephon Diggs can have the field day like he did week 2 against Green Bay. Now, of course, Green Bay has off a secondary, which helps too. But I think if that's the case, we'll have a good day against Dallas. But is that enough to win? Well, I guess that's the golden question. Now, Dallas has only one loss for a reason. That was in week 1. So they've been rolling all season long, pretty much. The Vikings started at 5-0 and it looked like the team to beat, and now they fell in the opposite direction as Dallas. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, these two teams couldn't be any more opposite of each other. Dallas is starting their rookie quarterback. The Vikings are on the veteran quarterback that they sent a first rounder for to replace their third-year quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. So, final score predictions. It's going to be really, really tough to say the Vikings could win this one. I think their defense will hold it, make it a close game. So it's going to be really, really tough for the Vikings to come across. Best scenario for the Vikings, Stephon Diggs comes back, has a fantastic game, lights up the field, puts up over 100 yards, receiving, has about 10 receptions, and is, again, Sam Bradford's go-to target. Kyle Rudolph gets utilized from the offense more, O-line protects, and gives up like 2 sacks and say 6 to 8 hits on Bradford, which is still enough when Bradford is coming into this game questionable. I'd imagine he'd play, but if say Taylor Heineke starts, again another downfall for the Vikings. But since Sam Bradford is shaking up even more, it's gonna be tough. If Adrian Peterson is back and somehow, by the luck of God, Adrian Peterson pulls out what he did in 2012 after injury and coming straight back onto the field and is dominating. But even in 2012, he wasn't even that dominant until over the last 3 quarters of the year. He did start out pretty slow, if you guys remember. So best case scenario doesn't even sound that great for the Vikings. So final score time, I say Dallas 23, Vikings 10. If Stephon Diggs blows up the field, maybe give the Vikings another 6 points. And if the Viking defense can somehow hold them, it'll still be very hard. But it'll be very, very hard. I don't think it's very likely the Vikings will win, but I think the defense will make it a lot closer than a lot of people might think. But at the end of the day, Dallas has only one loss for a reason. But we are at home. This is the time to make a statement, so we'll see. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time. Bye.